Welcome to the HMG Executive Leadership Spotlight, where we showcase the best of the best global business technology executives demonstrating innovation, driving disruption, reimagining and reinventing the enterprise, the customer journey, new business models, and new go-to-market opportunities in a safe and secure enterprise. And now, here's our host, Hunter Muller, founder and CEO of HMG Strategy.
Welcome to HMG Spotlight. I'm Hunter Muller, founder and CEO of HMG Strategy. Delighted to be here with you today with Shauna Latshaw. Shauna is the CIO at Compass Group North America. Hey, Shauna, welcome to the program. It's great to see you.
Oh, thank you. I'm excited to be here today.
This is a relatively new format for us. We're really excited about it. This coming from our global studio here in Westport, Connecticut. And you're one of our first top 10 picks in terms of an executive that we wanted to highlight in the spotlight section. So tell us what's new for you in your role at Compass Group. What are you doing uniquely different that you're excited about, passionate about, and want to share with our viewer audience?
The excitement that's out there that I think I wake up every day and am excited to come to work is one, the digital explosion is probably 10x what we ever expected in the midst of the pandemic. And that requires not only a culture change within the business, but a huge culture change within our technology organizations. I would say our move to cloud, we've moved 90% of our North American footprint to cloud. And that, I would tell you, the cloud wars are real. They all bring amazing capability to the table. And I see that as an innovation engine for us and a growth engine, because no longer are we as heavily reliant on the technology supply chain to make things happen. And I would say also, quite frankly, the ongoing fear factor that we all live with around cyber and organizational resiliency. We've seen the spike happening in data breaches. It's all over the news and it's real. And I think, especially in the food industry, we all have had some wake-up calls, whether it's been Colonial Pipeline or JBS, et cetera, that we're all put on notice that we have to really make sure we've got our controls, our security, and we're, from an organizational resiliency perspective, have our game on.
Shauna, it's so exciting to be in this digital time that we're in right now, right? We've both been in the industry quite some time. How do you view your role in the board and the C-suite and the line of business? How do you view your role as a CIO?
The question I think we all have to ask ourselves is, are we all going to become tech companies at the core? And if we're not, I'm not sure we can compete in the next generation of, quite frankly, in the industry. Tech is at the core of not only automation, efficiency, but it's about growth. It is, quite frankly, at growth and interacting with, whether it's you're interacting with your board, your C-suite, your business leaders, we have to be the change agents at the table. We actually have, I think, a level of expertise that we can bring in terms of how to look at disruption and innovation differently and bringing the tools to the table, not leading with perhaps the tools, but leading with the business challenges and how we leverage technology to either one, solve them, or quite frankly, accelerate our paths to leapfrog to the next generation and actually be the disruptor if possible.
So were they requesting this role from you, or were you driving the vision and the agenda, or was it mutually understood about the new role being that innovator, the driver of change?
When I came into the organization, I was very clear, I'm a change agent. That is my brand. It is what I do. It's what I love. I love leading an organization and doing wildly new and different things. But it's also leading an organization and growing the talent in a way to compete differently. And so that was definitely my mantra as I came in. But I think it's also, they would definitely, as an organization, would not have hired me if they wanted us to just continue to be status quo. And we are an organization that there will be no complacency. And so I think it's been a great partnership in terms of a bit of push and pull. You just have to make sure you understand how much appetite you have for change, right? You can't introduce more than the organization can, quite frankly, adapt to. And that's probably the one of the biggest things I have to monitor on a daily basis.
Interesting. When you think about your whole agenda, cloud has been really important in accelerating your success and your goals. Can you talk to us about your cloud strategy?
We started our journey from a hybrid perspective, knowing that We're still in a hybrid mode, but we leveraged, if you will, the pandemic time with some change in priorities to accelerate our journey to cloud, knowing it's an innovation engine, and basically move 90% of our North American footprint to the cloud. And we're leveraging all of the big three in the cloud wars, and intentionally doing that because we think there are, one, unique capabilities each of them bring to the table, but two, we want the best of all of them. And as a result of that, you have to be very careful here from a strategy, because you've got to think about it in terms of your data movement, as well as the cost structures. The cost structures are wildly different. And when you move to cloud from a traditional on-prem, if you will, world, right, it moves into your P&L directly versus being able to CapEx that over time. So it's been exciting. I think we're at the beginning of our journey, I'll be quite honest. I think the best is yet to come, but when we look at it from a modernization of the organization, a modernization of our processes, I'm super excited and what's happening out there with AI and machine learning, and what we can do differently, whether it's in procurement or, quite frankly, in the engagement and customer experiences across a variety of our, if you will, lines of business. I think it's going to be the enabler for growth and innovation in the future. It's exciting. I think the biggest shift for us is going to be culture. The tech is relatively, my team will get mad at me for saying the tech's easy. But quite frankly, that's the easier part, because most of us have worked in the biggest thing we saw was client server, maybe if I'm dating myself, but the biggest thing we saw was client server. And now cloud is our big disruptor, and we've got it from a culture and operations model. And quite frankly, the world is now software defined. How do we adapt to that? How do we get skills and build around that at the speed at which quite frankly, the entire industry is going? It's definitely not a fad.
Bottom line, though, you got to keep the enterprise safe and secure.
It's a real war. The cyber wars are real. And, I think the biggest thing we can do, people are our biggest, quite frankly, risk point. And I know that sounds weird. We can invest in all the tools and capabilities, and we are as an organization, right? It's the right thing to do. But it's really insurance. That's an insurance policy. The hackers or the bad actors out there, they're constantly evolving and getting smarter each day. And quite frankly, that's the hardest part of this. People, and if we focus on making sure training and awareness on the front lines are there, and security becomes everyone's job, and protecting our data is just a common part of what we do is operating the day-to-day business, we're going to be 80% of the way there. The last 20% that, the tools, the processes, the controls can get after, they're all critical, and we absolutely take them incredibly seriously. But I think when you look at the organizations that are out there, we've all had a wake-up call and maybe took it for granted. I remember in the old days thinking, gosh, why are we doing these pandemic drills? That'll never happen. And lo and behold, here we are today, and thank heavens we did. And we're able to leverage, quite frankly, the virtual world, because we now are in a, to overuse the overused term of unprecedented times, we are. And we've operated a business and been successful in one of probably the most disruptive public health events we've had in many of our time. And so it's exciting, but I think resiliency and organizational resiliency, whether it's on the cyber front, whether it's, political or economic, we're all, I think, playing catch up on a daily basis and trying to keep our heads above water. And, we need to come together as a community on this more and more to protect all of our brands and all of our customers' data.
Great stuff. One final question. In the war for talent, the market's got incredibly tight, both in North America, around the world.
Yes.
Any tips on keeping people engaged, keeping your employees happy and healthy and excited to be working together and not moving on?
Attracting talent and retention, I would say, is the thing I probably spend the majority of my time really thinking about and planning for. From a retention perspective, the tips are listen to your people. Empathy matters. This is a time when we have tested the boundaries of personal and professional worlds. We've been in each other's, whether they're living rooms, kitchens, etc. But also almost to a personal level in terms of their physical health, their mental health. Listening is the key, and being there for them. Also, I think it's about providing really cool opportunities for folks and making sure that we're looking for ways, this whole hybrid world of work and the new era that is upon us, how do we make sure work fits into people's lives? Because quite frankly, we've asked an awful lot of them, and making sure we create that balance. And we've been very lucky, and from a retention perspective, I think the challenge is going to continue. To attract talent in this market is insane. The competition is nuts. But I think it's about really, quite frankly, cool digital work. It's in the era of, it's the cloud and digital era. If you're playing in those spaces, it brings the best and brightest minds. And if you're, quite frankly, a great place to work that respects their people and also listens to their people, you're going to have incredible loyalty. And that's what I think is important.
Shauna, great to have you here today on the HMG Spotlight. What an amazing interview. I want to nominate you to be a recipient for the 2021 HMG Global Leadership Institute Recognition Awards, and we'll be in Charlotte later on this year in person. And I'd love to also maybe interview you there as well. This is great.
This is fantastic. Thank you so much for the opportunity. It's great to chat today.
Another great segment, HMG Spotlight. Shauna, amazing job. Thank you.
We hope you found this episode of HMG's Executive Leadership Spotlight beneficial. The HMG Global Network, a network of 400,000 technology leaders and a media platform that delivers more than 1 million impressions per week, is a valuable source of insight, continuous learning, and peer-to-peer research based on the insights and experiences of world-class, top-tier technology executives. Leverage the HMG network. Go to hmgstrategy.com to find out more.